Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My friend gave me this Wyze Cam version 3, and he said that it doesn't turn on. So he plugs it in, and you're supposed to get some kind of an LED indication here, but there's nothing showing up. And so he asked me to look into it. I tested it myself, plugged it into a micro USB, and yeah, there was no sign of life. I didn't see any LED or any blinking lights. So the first thing I did, I tested my cable. So I plugged in a different device, and my cable is fine. There's nothing wrong with the cable. So then I proceeded to test. Let me explain this. When you plug the connector here, the micro USB power adapter, the power arrives at this connector here, which has 4 lines, the 4 typical USB 4 lines: voltage plus, voltage minus, and data plus and data minus. And this plugs into the camera at this connector right here. So the next step I took was I tried to measure 5 volts here on the connector itself to see if I was getting the typical USB 5 volts, and I didn't see any voltage there. So then I got a bit suspicious, and the next step I disconnected this connector from the camera, and I tested the red and black cables, so the plus and minus, to see if I was getting the 5 volts here. And still I was not seeing the 5 volts. So let's go under the microscope and let me show you eventually what I discovered. So this is what I discovered, to my horror. This is basically the female connector of the camera. That's where you plug in the micro USB from the power adapter. Forgive the shakiness, it's my hands, not the actual camera. So as you can see, that rightmost pin is slightly damaged. There's no way this would work. So anyway, I did some research and I found that you can buy this connector with the cable. It doesn't come with the actual plastic connector here, so it doesn't come with the plastic here, the white connector. But it does come with the micro USB female all the way to here. So no problem, I can make it work. And so I told my friend, and he placed the order. Now when that will arrive and when he'll be back to see me to fix this, I don't know. But in the meantime, I came up with another solution. Basically, the solution I want to do for the time being, temporary solution, is since we're going to change this anyway, I'm going to snip this off right here, and then I have a million of these cables. I'm going to snip this off right here also, and then just connect these 2 wires directly. There'll be 4 wires, and I have to match them. V plus, data minus, data plus, and then voltage minus. So connect them together, and this way, I believe, this will work. And whenever my friend orders and receives the replacement cable, it'll be easy. I'll just remove this cable that I'm going to put now, and then put the other one, the part that he ordered, and it'll be back in working order. So this is what I'm going to do for this video. Yeah, I see 4 cables here. Now I've already tested this cable and it works just fine. So let me cut it here. This has 4 wires also. Okay, so I'm going to match basically red to red, black to black, and then the 2 other ones, the data plus and data minus, and put them all together. Normally I would use heat shrink to do all this work, but since this is just a temporary solution, I'm probably going to forego the heat shrink and just use like some electric tape. So it looks like the colors here: red, black, green, and white. Let me see what colors we have here. So here we have red, white, green, and black, which are the same colors. Next, I'm going to get the wires tinned. Okay, so I've put the cable, this one, black, green, white, and red. And here on the Wyze Cam, it's black. Well, that's gray, but black, green, white, and the last one is red. It's kind of pink, but it's the red. And now I'm going to basically solder them together. And then I'm going to run a test before plugging it into the camera to make sure that we're getting the voltage correctly. Let's see how well this goes. And now the last one. So this is what I ended up with, and that's quite satisfactory for a temporary solution. Now, to make sure that these lines don't touch, I thought of a couple of ideas. Like I said, normally I would have used heat shrink, but this is just temporary. So either I can use a bit of hot glue, and then this will make sure none of these lines touch, or potentially use solder mask and a UV light. But I think I'm going to go with the hot glue. And then eventually when my friend gets the connector, I can just cut here and then solder on the new connector. But first, before I do any of that, I'm going to plug this in and check that I'm getting the correct voltages here. And actually, let me do a continuity test before I plug this in. I'm going to do some continuity tests between the main USB plug, the pins inside, and this connector. So let's do that. All right, so the way I have this connector oriented now, the rightmost pin is the VCC, the V plus, basically. And the leftmost pin is the V minus. Now, next to the V plus is the data minus. Next to that is the data plus, and then it's the voltage minus, as I already said. Now, you're going to hear a tone if there is continuity. I'm going to start with the voltage plus, the VCC. By the way, I'm going to put up a picture here of the pinout, just so you can have an idea. So let's start with the voltage plus. And I'm testing it against the connector that plugs into the cam. I know it's hard to see on the. There we go. This is the connector. Okay, so I'm going to start with the voltage plus. Short voiceover. I had the noise suppression in OBS set very high, so you won't hear the tone on the multimeter. I have fixed this for future videos, but for now, just notice the red light on the multimeter as well as the display of 0. So that's good. Voltage minus, which is at the other end. Now I'm going to do data plus, which is the pin next to the voltage minus. Finally, data minus. Now let me make sure that no two lines are shorting out. There we go, there we go, there we go, there we go. Yeah, nothing is shorting. So now I think I'm going to proceed to, like I said, to use a bit of, let me bring this closer, to use a bit of hot glue to make sure that these lines don't connect, don't touch each other. I mean. All right, here we go. Let it cool down before I mess with it too much. I honestly don't know if this is a good idea, but as just a proof of concept that this is going to work, I figured it's fine. Again, normally I would have used heat shrink and done it much better than this. But I think this will do just fine for now. I'm going to test for any shorts. Let's do that. I'm going to do it directly on the camera connector. So we shouldn't hear any beeps. Unless I inadvertently touch the probes, we should not hear this sound. Let's see. I'm going to start with the plus here. Plus and minus, no shorts. Data plus, data minus, no shorts. Move to the next one. Nothing, no shorts. Last one, no shorts. All right. I think we're good. So I think it's safe to plug it in. Actually, no, I'm not going to plug it in yet to the camera. I'm just going to plug it to the power and check that we're getting the 5 volts expected here on the connector. Just to quickly show you how this ended up. That's not bad at all. There's no way. Focus. Okay. There's no way this is going to touch. And the hot glue is pretty hard. So, I mean, I am putting pressure and nothing is moving. So as a temporary solution, this is going to be just fine. All right. Let me plug it in now. Okay, I plugged it in. Let's check. Let me bring my multimeter so we can see it together. Okay, voltage DC. And plus is on the left, so let's see. We should be reading 5 volts here if all went well. This is minus, and this is plus. There we go. 5.16 volts. So we are now getting the 5 volts expected. And I am fairly confident that this is going to work when we plug it in. Let's do that next. So I have plugged in the connector. Prior to removing it, I had marked where plus goes. But anyway, it is keyed, so there was no need for that. But anyway, so it's plugged back in. And now when I plug it to power, there should be some LED indication here somewhere on the screen, on the next to the camera, I mean. Alright, I'm plugging in now. Yeah, I see an amp draw. Yeah, there we go. There's the light here. So currently it's at 170, 270, 370 milliamps. Yeah, I know this blinking blue-red from the Wyze Cam version 2 that I worked on many, many months ago. I'll put a link to it here somewhere for that video. But yeah, this is now repaired. Now it's drawing 290 milliamps. I have a USB meter. It goes between 290 and 330. Anyway, so this means that now it's working. Now I'm not going to bother putting this thing back together because I do suspect sooner or later my friend is going to get the connector here, and I'm going to have to cut this and redo this work for him. But at least in theory, this is now fixed. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you on the next one. Bye bye.